welfare mooches. So don't blame your local. Hey, what incentive does he have to go to work? What's the message? Oh, there's this high unemployment. Best thing you could do, says a righteous guy, stay home. Go on welfare, right? I mean, isn't that being nice? Let somebody else that needs the job more have the job. That's what a nice guy does. And yet we're going to condemn them when we should be point the finger squarely at the people causing the need for the welfare, creating the poverty through Cloward and Piven. It's a strategy. It's some perverted form of socialism. Because if, all these words, if we don't have a meeting of the minds as to the exact meaning, there's a lot of confusion out there, a lot of Babylon. And they like that. They like muddy waters. They don't want people to see straight. Because if you do, you'll be empowered. And you'll go out and you'll be able to speak cogently, coherently, clearly to your fellow human being, wherever you find them, family, friends, associates, neighbors, whatever, strangers, it doesn't matter. But you're just being true to yourself, and you're doing it for selfish motives, but selfless motives. Because really, in trying to look after your own welfare and find happiness, okay, you're going to help others. You're going to help open their eyes and see clearly. You're clearing the mud away for them by speaking to them about these issues and helping them to understand why the problems persist and why they often proliferate. So I'm going to get back into this laundry list of evil industrial complexes that need the problems to persist in order to remain relevant. So again, just to finish up with the whole minimum wage thing, is that if we could not only understand the need for a cost of living adjustment, just in order, how else do you maintain a standard? Somebody tell me, how else do you maintain a standard of living? At least, much less making any progress. I mean, this is what I'm pointing out, is that we could make a lot of progress on this front with a reduced work week, full employment, a steady tide, a rising tide of prosperity across the board for everybody, because hey, why not? This planet belongs to all of us, so I don't resent the rich people. I just say, get ready for a world where everybody's rich. And if you can't conceptualize that, if you can't embrace that idea, you just can't imagine it, or somehow you don't want it, you think you're going to lose, then you won't be there. You get to go hang out with those hypocrites and the gnashing of the teeth, the liars, the cheaters, the thugs, the murderers, all those kind of cats. So have fun with that, but I don't want to be there. So anyhow, secondarily, you blame the cause. You say it's their fault. So you businesses, you don't like paying your employees higher wages. You don't like debased currency. Then you blame the cause. And the media, you need to be a part of pointing that out. Stop blaming the crime out there. I just watched a piece on TV recently up in Shasta County in Redding, California, where they talk about rapes being on the increase because of the economic conditions. I don't know what that really, I guess if a guy can't get a date, he's desperate. It's really messed up. All I'm saying is it's messed up, and the crime and the poverty go hand in hand. And crime is just rebellion on a small scale. It really is. It's anarchist. It's saying, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm just abandoning caring. I know the people running things are liars and cheaters, so I might as well be like them. Let them take care of me. I go to jail and at a cost of over $50,000 a year here in California to the taxpayers. I mean, what kind of a deal is that for anybody? It's ridiculous. It's so stupid that we have all let things get this out of hand and evil. Okay, but this is what happened. I mean, when they're able to convince the people that high housing costs are a good thing, I mean, really, God help us all. How stupid is that? How are high housing costs any better than high food costs or high energy costs or high water costs? It's preposterous. But yet, so many people believe this. So many people believe that when the housing market's been manipulated and they had an interest, they said, hey, I'm a homeowner, it's just capitalism, go along to get along, fella, mellow out, okay? So what, they're manipulating the markets? I mean, it's capitalism, right? So what, they're fixing the prices. Hey, I invested in, I gotta protect my investment, so I need these appraisers are working for the banks, and the banks want to dump as much money as they can on the market, as long as they're insured and covered, as long as they trust their masters, these grand money printers and their policies. And they got away with it. It's insane what they've done to us. how they validated and legitimized the theft of the wealth of our nation for generations to come. And what they want is that in perpetuity, and they want that increased. So they're testing the waters. They're pushing the envelope to see how much tyranny will the people accept. How stupid are they, okay, to believe high housing costs are a good thing. Okay, that's like saying, hey, the farmers might be saying, hey, high food costs are a good thing. That's profit, right? And they don't care, maybe. They don't care that there's all this extra food, but you got to starve to death so that their profits are high. With the housing, that you got to die out in the cold so that they keep the value of their house stays high. That's what's going on, folks. And then we're going to say anybody that's opposed to unlimited immigration, even though America allows more legal immigration than all the other nations combined, it's these same people. They're going to say they give a crap about unnecessary human suffering while they're letting our native sons and daughters die out in the cold every day of the week. This has been going on all through Obama's administration. It went on all through Bush's administration and Clinton and Bush before him, okay, and Reagan. Okay, this has been going on for a long time, and these people sicken me to the nth degree. And we all need to get sickened and angered and say, no, we want the problem solved. We get it. We get it, man. You know, your security agencies, really the insecurity agencies. In order for them to be kept relevant, you need chaos. You need crisis. The cry of ISIS, huh? The money lovers. Committing war, asymmetrical warfare. That's what's going on here. Okay? These people know what they're doing. They just wreck everything. They can't stand anybody having any semblance of peace of mind or security and prosperity. They don't want that for the regular Joe. These people are like the worst kind of fascist, communist, price-fixing, crony capitalist. I haven't got word to kleptomaniacs. They're freaks. And they make me want to vomit, all of them. And you're all going to hell because your fruits are rotten unless you repent. And I'm not judging you. I'm not condemning you. But there is one that will, that knows what the heck's going on. So I'm going to read through this list real quickly and leave you with a little food for thought. We got the consumerist industrial complex. Everybody's heard about planned obsolescence. Well, that's been a reality for decades. I was watching an episode of I Dream of Jeannie, you know, and that came up, and it has to be 50 years old, 40 years at least. But you know, here's another thing: is that these people, you know, for decades they've been encouraging us to be consumers, and this is good for business, good for the nation, all this. And now all of a sudden with this climate change thing, now they're slamming the brakes on us. So humanity at large is in a very dangerous spot. We're told that just our presence on the earth, just using the energy that's available to us, we're bad and we're you know, unearthly. So we're doing the wrong thing for the planet. We're bad people polluting. Just being born was bad. Having kids is bad. Having any carbon footprint. And we're being told that by the likes of Al Gore, who's heating and cooling several mansions and flying private jets all around the world. Is that who we need to hear it from? This whole thing sickens me to the bottom of my stomach. I just want to vomit every time I think about the hypocrisy. So I don't know if I have time on this video, but I'm going to run through these a little bit. We got the taxing industrial complex. Now anybody that's employed, whether it's a Board of Equalization, the IRS, or some other taxing entity, you know, the tax assessor that takes the property taxes, all these people's job depends on that revenue coming in from the taxes. So if the problem is the taxes are too high, too burdensome, then the answer is to get rid of the tax. Then it's not in the interest of these people. So they'll fight tooth and nail to keep their jobs and to remain relevant. Say, hey, well, you need us. You know, you won't have teachers if you don't pay your property tax. All these implications. And they actually get people to vote for higher taxes through using deceit. And if people are confused, they're effectively deceived. That's what it all comes down to, those muddy waters. They can't see clearly. They don't understand. You know, they can't. I'll tell them something like, you know, what about a reverse taxation system? And it just goes right. Why? Because they're so immersed in evil indoctrination and being inculcated into this monetary-based system that requires problems in order to remain relevant. And all the people working within that establishment, the same thing. They just don't get it. They don't get it that these politicians should be tax collectors for we the people, taking from the corporations that are taking the wealth of our nation through the resources, through the timber, the agriculture, the fishing, the gold, the silver, on and on and on with precious metals and other resources, and labor. And labor is the greatest resource every nation has. Because why? Nothing gets done. Absolutely nothing gets done. But does our society reflect that the labor, the basic labor, is the most valuable asset of any nation? The most valuable resource any nation could have is that its workforce. Are we exalting them? And are we allowing them to prosper, to be happy, to be free? No, we're not. We're keeping them captive. And now we've got the disease industrial complex. So you come up with a cure for cancer, for example, and you're hated. They want to suppress your information because, hey, without the disease, if cancer was simply cured tomorrow because people discovered blueberries and broccoli juice healed their cancer, a little fasting, then they're out of business. They're not relevant anymore. So do they want that? You're stepping on toes when you solve problems. And I'm making the point. How about the poverty, the welfare industrial complex? Anybody employed that's in the social welfare system knows what I mean. You got the mainstream media industrial complex, who depend on their sponsors often, their private sponsors and political sponsors, in order to remain relevant. So they can't speak their mind. They can't speak the truth. They're impotent because they're beholden. They're beholden to their sponsors. So, that if you want to do those jobs and you're not willing to be beholden, you'll be fired. You won't have those